Thanks again to Carbon Health for being our presenting sponsor. If you are a regular here, you know I've talked about Carbon Health and how long I've talked about Carbon Health and why I love Carbon Health. They help with things like COVID, cold, flu testing, antibiotic prescriptions for things like infections, UTIs, STDs. They have primary care services in California and Massachusetts. But if you're new here, thank you, by the way, for stopping by. You should also know that they can help with injuries as well. Most of their locations have imaging or x-ray machines so they can diagnose strains, sprains, and fractures if you unfortunately become injured. And I know, unfortunately, not everyone will be near one of the 120 plus locations, but they do have virtual urgent care services for states like California, New York, Florida, and several others. So thank you to Carbon Health. Really, really happy to be working with them. Check out the link in the description. What's going on, everybody? And we promised it. I know everybody's excited. I'm excited. It is a special spoiler-heavy review of The Mandalorian Season 3, but not with just me and Brett, who's an expert in Star Wars. It's Katee Sackhoff. Bo Katan herself is here today. And not only are we going to talk about everything regarding Season 3, if you watched the last interview we did with Katee before the season started, she said she was going to give away a signed copy, a signed version of her Bo Katan helmet from Hasbro, and she brought it. And we picked out a comment already, and we're going to let that be known today who won the helmet. And guess what? It's not over. We're also going to be doing more giveaways on this one. Same type of deal. You got to comment, you got to do this, and we'll tell you what we're going to give away today in the episode. But it's just going to be a full-on spoiler about the season. If you haven't seen Season 3, I would suggest not watching this until you have. So we'll get into all that and more. But we're just asking you to show a little bit of class. Just an ounce. Hit that button. Help us get to 100,000. We're almost there. People are like, whoa, I don't have any class if I don't subscribe. I never said that. I just said you're showing a little bit more if you do. So head on over there. We also got Spotify, baby. Hit Spotify. We are on video, all that and more. And we are going to be in Burbank, California this Friday night, April 28th. Stand-up comedy with myself, Brett, Coy, Winston, Kate Mulligan, and then the entire crew is going to be doing a podcast right afterwards. Roxy, Steph, Mike, all of us. You can get tickets, but get tickets now. All right, everybody, let's do it. Let's talk Mandalorian with Bo Katan herself. Katee Sackhoff is here. Let's do it. I'm ready. You're ready? Great. What up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Mandalorian has wrapped Season 3, and the person we need to talk to about it is
right
here.
here.
Oh, the best.
Oh,
Get lost, will you? Katee Sackhoff is here.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's back. Welcome back, Katee.
Thank you.
What a whirlwind.
What a whirlwind.
In general, man, holy moly.
Yeah.
The season has wrapped. The finale is here, and I have so many questions.
I'm sure you do. I do too.
I have a lot of questions. All right, so I want to be pretty upfront, honest with you up top because we've known each other for a long time. I enjoyed the season. I thought the season was fun. I said to a bunch of people the other day, I said the season to me felt like a really good sandwich. To me, it was just missing a little bit of meat. Just a little bit of meat, meaning that there was a great moment that happens in Season 2, and now we can talk about this. Bo Katan, she saves Din's ass, as she does for the majority of the season. Yeah. And she starts talking to Grogu really about her the background and what, you know, the time with her family and all that. And I thought that was such a great scene. Was there ever any talk about adding a little bit more about people who maybe didn't see Rebels or Clone Wars to get a little bit more about Bo?
We spoke about it for sure. I think the problem with a show like this is that it's you're straddling that line between keeping the episodes shorter, and then stuffing them so full. And you know you can't do everything you want to do, and you know there's definitely a lot that the fans still want to see. Yeah. There's a lot that I want to know. Because I know that that Dave and I have talked about it. We've talked about her entire backstory. We've talked about all the things that happen. And for me, like, I really loved those moments where we saw a different side of Bo. We saw the pain. We saw her regret. And And I always would love to have more of those, selfishly. But maybe a different time, a different place.
Yeah, because I think that that's the stuff that really worked, and people wanted me to ask you a particular questions like, is your back okay? Bo Katan was the driving point. And you had mentioned last time you were on the show that you had these moments that you talked to with Jon on set because you knew there was a lot. I mean, now after seeing the season, I understand what you were saying because there was a lot of pressure. It was really your season. So what did you feel? How did you feel about it overall? And did it deliver in the way that you wanted to?
I love this show. I love working on it. I love the whole cast and the crew, and I love this character.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be what I thought it was going to be because, I'm not in the editing room, and there are definitely moments where I'm like, why would they choose that take?
Right.
Oh my God, I did such
that's
better
normal,
work
though,
on
too,
this
right?
take.
Yeah.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
It's the overall story, and I think that one of the things that people need to understand, and they've been, I think, pretty vocal about this, is that these 3 shows go together.
Right.
Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, they all go together.
Yeah.
And this season was all about setting something up for the greater good of the entire story. So it's always one of those weird, funny things because I'm my biggest critic, and so I liked the work that I did. There's definitely a couple scenes where I was like, damn it. But,
Anyone in particular you want to get into, or not really?
Yeah. So the when Bo gives her speech about we're going to go take back Mandalore with the 2 different clans.
Yeah.
That scene was much longer.
Oh, was it?
It was, I mean, that
like
scene,
William Wallace style?
I mean, like super long. And that was what the comparison we made.
Oh, okay.
Was this is the rousing thing. You're inspiring these 2 separate clans to get out there and like go retake their homeworld. It has to be emotional. It has to be big. And for whatever reason, it got cut down a lot. And so that scene, I love this entire season. I thought it was fun. But that one moment for me, I was like, oh, I wish that they'd given more context to what had happened right before, because I think that it would have made that speech land heavier.
Yeah.
Because I think, and there were, the majority of the takes I did were, William Wallace-esque.
See, that's why I said what I said in the beginning about the sandwich, is that like, you mentioned like the shorter episodes, and I've been saying it, like the audience is tired of me saying it, but like 5, 10, 15 more minutes, you get more like dialogue and pieces like that further the story. So I'm interested. I wonder if that's like a Disney note or what that was. Yeah.
I have no idea. Honestly, I really don't know what that is. When we're in it, it feels like they're longer.
Yeah. Right.
I'm always surprised how quick they go. Because the episodes, there's so many people that work on this show. There's so many moving parts. It's so expensive to shoot. And it does always surprise me that they're as short as they are.
Yeah, I just don't know what that is. It's one of my biggest critiques of the Star Wars stuff that they do, is that they make them so short because there's so many great moments. Like the moments that I love, a great moment that we can talk about is when Din says to Bo, "I got you."
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about their relationship in this season. What you were kind of directed about when kind of coming into it, what you felt, the history of it, taking anything from the Clone Wars and Rebels, knowing what she went through. Kind of give me that process.
So this entire season, I took her backstory with me.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing that I wanted to focus on, this is her redemption arc. She has to be relatable. She has to win people over. And if she doesn't, the whole season won't work.
Yeah.
And so I was aware of that. And I think that the way that somebody can be forgiven and find atonement is to be genuinely regretful and remorseful of the things that they've done and the events of their past. To hear Bo say that she did surrender, this is a person whose ego has driven her for so long.
Yeah.
And to see that she surrendered because it was the only option she had. And the sort of like the destruction that continued after that is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's absolutely heartbreaking. And I thought in my mind the only reason he didn't kill her was because he wanted her to live with that.
Yeah.
And that's why she hates him so much.
Makes sense. And so even like rewinding back into like episode 1, we were lucky enough. Brett and I tried to find you at the premiere event at El Capitan.
It was so fast.
Yeah, it was fast. It went quick. It was true. But we were because remember we were talking. You had just come in. I think it might have been that it was it that day that it aired, or I can't. Yeah, it was the day that it aired.
Yeah,
it was our interview aired.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Mercedes.
Yeah.
And she was there that night. So she was there, and Bill Burr was there.
Everyone was there. I didn't get to see anyone.
They were all up with
were
us.
All up above.
They set him with the losers. They set him with the losers.
You were in the nosebleeds.
I was in the nosebleeds. Actually, those seats are actually
I would
really
have
nice.
much rather been up there.
Those seats where you guys where your knees are like pressed against.
Yeah.
Those are tough. Those seats, and I love the upstairs ones. But we were, but that whole thing and watching all them, watching that little family up there and how that all worked. But they showed us the first 2. And I think that there were some episodes in this season that really played together better, like back to back. And I think 1 and 2 is an example, because there's the scene where you first, and I have to talk to you about this throne room thing, because I know. Did you know this was going to be as big as it is? Like, everyone wants you to do that pose. I saw you at Star Wars Celebration. You did that pose. Like, did you know that was going to be a thing?
No, I mean, I knew that visually this was going to be something that people talked about, because like it's such a relaxed, disrespectful, like, position to sit on a throne. And also it's really like uncomfortable looking. So it's sort of like, well, my husband goes, how long was she sitting there? So in my mind, it was like, I think she ran in as soon as she saw him. And then I saw that girl's TikTok.
Oh, right. Yeah. I sent that one to you, right?
Yeah. I watched that. And because in my mind, it made me laugh so hard, because I was like, that's what I sort of thought happened. It was like, she sees him and she's like, damn it.
Runs back and forth. And because there's no wine around. There's no food. There's nothing. She's in the same spot for like it's got to be like at least 24 hours.
She's not even looking on her iPhone.
Nothing.
She
No
just
TikTok
smoked a
videos.
real big bowl, and she like can't get up. She's like,
high as tits. The droid's like, well, you want some more? Oh, you want a brownie now?
Right?
Yeah, because we were like, oh, hey, she's relaxed.
She thought
man.
she was watching a show. It was just the clouds.
Right?
Yeah, that's it. She's been
And
high.
she doesn't move at all.
No, and then she still is operates. All right, I guess I'll go kick someone's ass with the darksaber. But I mean, that whole thing it's funny how iconic that it already has become. She's just sitting on that throne, chilling.
Yeah. What do they call that? BDE?
Is that what it is? Oh, okay.
I think that's.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. So with that, like, what's that conversation like? With because who directed? Who directed the first?
That was Rick.
Rick directed the first, right? And then he directed the last 2, right? Right.
Yeah. So Rick and Jon and I were all about, how do you take up space on this throne? Because I, on that throne, looked tiny. I looked so little. I mean, and I think that people all the time are surprised by how small I actually am, because I'm only 5'6". Mm-hmm. I'm not 5'10", and they always think I'm.
You carry
really
yourself.
Big. Yeah. So I was like super tiny. I looked like a little girl. My feet didn't even touch the ground, and they were like, "Well, this doesn't work."
Yeah.
And so it was all about trying to figure out what the most comfortable thing is. They had me sit on it ahead of time, before it was completely built, to sort of see what with the jetpack on, without the jetpack on, how do you sit, what do you do? And then ultimately it just came down to what we wanted to convey. We wanted her to look disrespectful. We wanted her to look bored. We wanted her to look completely disinterested and defeated.
Defeated, yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
This is rock bottom for this person. And the last person she wants to see is Din.
Right. And because if had it not, and this is, I guess, where they made the Grogu, because I've seen some kind of criticisms in the fact that like the Grogu thing, like they ended in this big moment in season 2, and then they put them to get back together on Boba Fett. But you see what Grogu does, especially in that moment where he's got to get the hell out of Dodge, and he's the one that goes and gets Bo. And I thought it worked from the way that they made it play, because he's not just kind of goo goo gaga baby anymore.
No.
He's trained in the Force by Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And I love that moment, because I think that I think it's the only thing that would have made Bo say yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that there's this soft spot she has.
Yeah, she's ready to kick Din's ass.
She knows how important the Jedi are.
Yeah.
She literally knows. She knows where Ahsoka is.
Yeah.
She knows how important this character is. She knows how important. She's seen someone like this before.
Mm-hmm.
She's, I mean, it makes complete sense that she knows the importance of this child. And to not then go help him when she was the one who sent him.
Right.
She knew she sent him off to a place that was dangerous. She
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what was there. She didn't know he was going to get captured by the crone, but she knew that it was probably you know, not going to be the easiest place to find, especially since he'd never been there before.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of guilt, and I think that with the guilt she's already carrying on her back, the last thing she's like, God damn it, I don't need
and
the
she
guilt
goes,
of more Mandalorians on my conscience.
So much I want to ask you about the Darksaber, the wielding of, because like, so how much of that in that scene with the Chrome with you're kicking his ass with that saber was you? How much was the stunt?
So that was a scene that I was there for very little of, because that was Joanna. And, you know, we talk about how big this season is, right? Yeah. There are 2 units moving at all times.
Got it.
There are very few scenes that I saw this. I mean, I don't want to say few. There are scenes that I saw where I was like, I was not there.
Yeah.
I would say 80% of them I was there.
Right.
If not, and I did it at least once, if not, you know, most of it. But that being said, Jo's a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, she literally doubles Brie Larson. She's amazing at what she does, and she doubled, I believe, Gal Gadot. Was it Gal Gadot? I might be speaking out of turn there, but she's a phenomenal stunt double. And you know, to have me do the scenes where you know she's going to go in there with a helmet on and look 10 times better, it's just stupid to have me try. That being said, that last fight, I did as much of it as I could.
Yeah.
You know, because
with Moff.
With Moff.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to.
Yeah.
But that scene with the crone was not me. That was all Jo.
Okay. But that scene in general with the character, what I will say is this. If Bo ever had an excuse to really punch Din in the mouth because she wanted to do it in the beginning, you know, if she ever had an excuse, it's after that fight with Axe. So she fights Axe.
Yeah.
He knows that she's going in to kick some, have a fight, get her position back. They do this scrap. She's kicking his ass.
Why didn't you give me the Darksaber in the plane ride on the way over here, dum-dum?
Yeah.
Like, why you got to do it in front of these people that already know that I took it one time before? Like, what are you doing? Why? They were there. They saw me accept this the last time. They know how badly it went. Why are you not giving it to me in private? Why? You want to follow me so bad,
you
buddy?
Prick scumbag.
Yeah.
What are you
doing?
What are you doing? Why didn't you just say, she beat me?
Come in. Hey, guys, before you kick the shit out of each other, I have a little information. I have a little bit of news. Instead, he's like, nah, let him fight. Yeah. And if he just, because people are like, oh, he didn't realize it at first. So wait, he's watching him fight and he goes, I just put it together.
that was a really fun fight to shoot, by the way. That was really fun. I loved that fight. It was so much fun. Just
I'm glad that they used him again because you were being coy about it when we asked if we were going to show him again, and if we asked if Costco Reeves was coming back. You knew, and they made it back, and I thought that they used them really well. I think because as we talked about, Mercedes is just so like there's something about she's got that presence, right?
She's physically incredibly capable.
I want to learn more about that character.
Yeah, she wasn't physically as Mercedes was not available a lot.
Yeah, is that why?
That's why there's a lot of stuff with her this season that is also her stunt double.
Okay.
Because she just wasn't available. She was off fighting. Axe, you know, we knew he was supposed to die last year.
Oh, wow.
Like, that was the thing that no one could talk about. Like, there was this moment where he, like, sacrifices himself in that episode where he, like, you know, and he did it. We shot it. And then they were like...
In season 2.
In season 2. And they were like, oh, that didn't... It needs to be Din. It needs to be Din, not him.
Okay.
And so then you shoot a person's death and then they take it out. And then there's still a scene left. And then everyone's like, where'd they go?
Yeah.
It's like, well, he's pooping.
So that's okay. That makes sense.
That's what happened.
He's probably happy.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Because he is a bigger fan than anyone I've ever met.
That's
so like,
cool.
I mean, he talks about how when he was a little kid, he had like the little, you know, Boba Fett action figure.
Yeah.
Like seeing him on set when we first met him.
Geeking out.
Oh my God.
I love that.
It actually drove me nuts. Season 1, I was like, "Who is this green shithead over here who is like kid in candy store?" I was like, "But put your big boy pants on, buddy. We gotta go to work." He was so excited, and it's just infectious. He's such a phenomenal human being, and he's so great to be around, and he's such a talent.
And I love that they didn't make him the bad guy.
Yeah.
I loved that they didn't make him the bad guy because everyone was talking about either him or the armorer. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because Katie wouldn't, she never, I always try to get information out of her office. She never gives it to me. And I said, and I was like, before she left, like last time, come on. So Bo's going to be bad this season, right? She's like, you going to watch this show? Mm-hmm. You going to watch this show? And I thought maybe because of the Darksaber thing and all that, but clearly within 2 episodes, it's like, yeah.
You know, and it would have been really... hard. You know, you're written into a really difficult situation. You
Yeah.
have a character that everyone loves in Din. You have a character that you don't want to necessarily kill right now because of the overall story, potentially. I don't know, I'm guessing. To have them fight to the death for
Yeah.
a Darksaber,
Right.
well, that's a no-win situation. How do you write that?
Right.
And I think that potentially, I don't know for sure, but I think potentially that was one of the conversations that happened, in the sense that, you know, we're in a no-win situation. How do we then do this? And so, you know, people are like, oh, she won it on a technicality. No, she didn't. Relax. Someone told me to shut the F up the other day because I don't know Star Wars and I don't know what the Darksaber represents.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on a second. You're telling me that someone on social media was kind of mansplaining Star Wars to you?
Mansplaining.
Get the fuck
yeah,
outta here. Really?
Mansplaining
No
to
way.
the Mary Sue.
Well, that's a first.
Did you get the Mary? Did Mary Sue? Did you
Not
get Mary
as
Sue?
much, not
Oh,
as much, but I do
you
get
and
it.
Daisy
Trust
really
me.
could
Me
join
and
the
Daisy,
club.
we can fist bump over that.
Amazing.
No, but trying to mansplain to me that I don't understand, and I was like, look, the Darksaber needs to be won in battle.
Right. It was won in battle.
It was won in battle. The crone won it in battle with him. It's laying on the ground. Bo picks it up. She beats the crone.
Right.
And then she gives it back.
You know what's
She's like,
yeah, no, I would take again. That's why I made that joke, joking but not joking. Where like this was, whether we're buddies or not, this was your season, and you shine when you were supposed to shine. You did what you're supposed to do, and the character really. It was amazing. So like I think that you know, for every turd, there's a lot of people out there. Like I can't even tell you how many times I get on the comments of like, this was Katee season, Bo Katan, even people who thought who didn't necessarily love the season.
Yeah.
They're like, I saw third wasn't my favorite, but Katee was the one that really made this happen. I saw that so many different times. But what I will say is, I don't mind the Darksaber angle. I think that the angle that happened, my biggest thing was like, if Din knew that, should have said something a little bit earlier, buddy.
I mean, how
That's it.
long was the car ride over?
Right,
You know,
right.
it's my husband gets so mad at me because I will go on social media and I'll be like, everybody fucking hates me. Everybody hates me. They're talking about how stupid this is.
true.
This person says I should, you know, that I don't know anything. This person says that, you know, watching me act is like watching paint dry. This person says that, you know, Katee Sackhoff can't act her way out of a paper bag. And he's like, how many people said that?
Right.
How many people? I'm like, all of them. He's like, okay. And then
6.
he'll come back to me like an hour later and be like, I read it all. I found 2.
Right.
I found 2. And I was like, yeah, that's what I mean. All of them. And so now he's like, what did they say? I'm like, well, you know, so last night in the car, I was like, I don't know, like 70% are like super, super excited about Bo. You got 10% that are like, I hated the whole thing. You know, you got 5% that you just hate Bo. And then you got 2% that want me to sit on their face.
Only 2?
Only 2? Yeah. I'd up those numbers.
I was like,
I think those are altered
you know,
numbers. Yeah.
I'm really trying to
Yeah.
give him the whole scope
Yeah,
of
yeah.
what we're dealing with here.
Right.
Like these are the numbers.
Right.
This is what we're dealing with.
Sure, you really broke it down.
I broke it down for
Yeah.
him. He was like, all right, that's
Russell
true.
Crowe, beautiful mind style.
And then he says to me, he goes, I appreciate your honesty.
yeah.
I'm gonna put one in that just says how lazy you are because you don't do the stuff with the helmet on. And
Thank you.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
there you
these actors just look like Pedro Pascal. It's so lazy.
You're so lazy.
So lazy. No, but
Yeah.
your husband's 100% right. This is like welcome to the world of Star Wars fandom, also too, right? And I think
Yeah.
that from what the positivity that you got, that's a good stat.
Yeah.
That stat that high, you're gonna get people that are gonna do the initial because people. If you've been watching Katee Sackhoff, she's been kicking ass for years as Starbuck in Longmire, in all these Bionic Woman, for God's sakes, like all these things that she had done. She's kicking ass. This is not something new. Oh, it's a female agenda. Bo Katan is
female agenda.
female agenda.
Everything's the female agenda and woke these days.
No, but it's like, look, there are, and I was talking about this with my brother the other day. I do think that there's sometimes that studios kind of almost like monetize and they'll make an agenda towards the thing that's politically going to help them.
Oh, yeah,
I think
I
that
agree.
happens a lot where
Of
they're
course.
just, they don't want to get smashed on on Twitter, and they don't want to get smashed in social media. So they go, oh, well, who can fit that role and who can do that? And
They don't want to offend anyone.
Right, and I think that that's the wrong approach, because it's like you got to cast what you feel is right, but on the flip side of that, when there's a character like Bo Katan, who is, if you watch Clone Wars and you watch these Rebels and you watch, the character has been this strong lead character and has been going through arcs forever. It made sense for her to do what she's doing. And the show is called The Mandalorian, not called Din. You know what this season was about? The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And so there are sometimes when I think that, when people just kind of call out into anger, and I think then there's sometimes when people are just saying, hey, look, listen, maybe they could have done this a different way.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, what we are creating is art, whether you agree with that sentiment or not. And art is subjective. Not everyone is always going to love what you do.
Right.
And we would be stupid if we thought that everybody would like us, like the work we do, like our talent, and like the stuff that we do. And you got to let it go.
100%. And I'll tell you guys one thing. You know what I love? You're always going to love everything that these people do, and that's Athletic Greens. That's right. Let me tell you about Athletic Greens right now. Athletic Greens is the best. AG1, man. We are very excited to be talking about our next partner here. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens every day. I've been talking about them for months. It's coming up on years at this point. For me, I take it in the morning as the day's getting going. I put it in a water bottle. I shake it up. Done. It gives me good energy. I've been talking about it forever. Brett loves it. Katee Sackhoff loves it. Why? Because it just makes it simple. You just I'm not a big, vitamins guy. I like one shot, done. For me, it helps energy, sleep quality. And I just never understood, why would you take a bunch of different things? You can just take one scoop of powder in water once a day and you're good. It's a good life hack. It's really great. That's why I love and I trust AG1 by Athletic Greens, and so many of you guys do too now, since hearing about it on this show. It gets delivered to you once a month. Very easy to make it a daily habit. I get the travel packs when I go on the road, when I'm doing the Comic-Cons and things. It's so easy. You just take care of your body each day, and it's that simple. So if you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Check it out. All right, thank you to, again, our friends over at Athletic Greens. We love Athletic Greens. Cannot wait for you guys to, when you try Athletic Greens, not only do you help the show, you help yourself. And go ahead and put that comment in there. Let me know that you tried Athletic Greens. Use that code, Big Thing. All right, we got to talk about this episode with Jack Black and Lizzo. Because this was a major talking point for a lot of people out there.
They loved it.
There were a lot of people.
There's a lot of people that did. There's a lot of people that did.
Yes, I'll tell you what. There were a lot of people who, and I was just talking to someone the other day, and they said, "Look, I get that there's some people, the Star Wars fans, who are like, there's just cameos to be cameos, and I don't know why they were in there, and this and this and that." But this particular person was like, "I watched this with my daughters. They love Lizzo. Yeah. I love Jack Black." And it landed for me. My brother's one of those people. He goes, it landed for me. So tell me about the day itself. About when did you find out that they were even involved?
So we found out pretty much toward the beginning.
Okay.
We started getting the sort of like the rumor that it was going to happen, and then Jon told me that that's who it was going to be, and I just kept thinking to myself, because I'm a huge fan of Jack Black.
Yeah.
I kept thinking to myself, how am I going to keep a straight face when I am the silent character in the corner that, doesn't smile.
Right,
she doesn't, she doesn't do much.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so, it was hard. There were moments when I'm watching Jack Black.
So we call him that. So you guys are buddies now. Jack. Yeah.
Jack Black do his thing, but I am desperately trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
And Lizzo is a phenomenal musician.
Yeah.
She's such a talent, and such a nice woman. We had a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun together.
Now, as cool as that was, though, it's Christopher Lloyd, man.
It's
Christopher Lloyd. I thought he was the best. I thought he was the best. I thought he was so good in that particular role, and that's the one that I would have been geeking out. I like Jack Black. I like Jack Black a lot, and I don't really know. All I hear is how great Lizzo is, and I know from what I've heard, great musician. Mm-hmm. But it's Christopher Lloyd, man.
I know. I have photos.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I have photos of all of them in my phone, and it's sort of one of those things when, like, how am I far far enough away from the show that I can post these, and not get fired.
Right.
So I'm like slowly trickling things out to be like, don't look over here, Disney.
Yeah. Who do you reach out to in a certain circumstance like that? Do you just have, you reach out to tell your publicist, hey, I'm posting these, be on the lookout for somebody saying something?
I like to be very respectful of my employer and their sort of like mandates.
Yeah.
And
Especially
wrong
Star
word,
Wars.
but especially Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm respectful of it. I usually ask permission. I posted something the other day of, when I did all my knee slides. I posted that picture and didn't ask permission, but I thought that was like, how do you get mad about that?
Nobody got mad at it.
Show's over. Like,
Did anybody say anything?
There's no spoilers. Nobody reached out.
Okay.
So, because I start to see other people starting to post like behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
And I was like, well, Jack Black posted all his photos.
Yeah.
Lizzo's posting all hers. You got Brendan posting stuff.
Right.
All these people are posting BTS stuff. And I'm over here going like, can I post this?
Right. Well.
So, I'm starting to just post things.
Now, inside that, when I'm watching that episode, I think that one of the things I was curious about, because to me, the most fascinating stuff inside of this season was the retaking of Mandalore.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the most fascinating stuff. And we as we joke about that scene with the Darksaber, that happens at the end of that episode.
Yeah.
The beginning is kind of a setup of them getting there, and then there's this kind of like good cop, bad cop episode that happens in that particular episode. But it's the stuff that, and even in the beginning of the episode, the Coruscant episode. So when that Coruscant episode happens, did you know, was it written that way that you guys have that scene where the castle gets blown up? You guys have this kind of, because that was a great scene by you, by the way, because there's this moment of rage to where she's got to snap back into it and go, hey, I'm gonna die.
We got to get out of here.
We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So was that written that way in the script, that it was that moment and then this long Coruscant episode, or was it a different episode?
No, everything was written the way
it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. There is nothing this season that caught me off guard, like Luke showing up in season 2.
Right. Yeah.
There was nothing where I was like, well, that wasn't in the script.
Right.
Yeah.
Any mention inside on the set about, because now at Star Wars Celebration, so I want to get into your Star Wars Celebration experiences here at London, but like at Star Wars Celebration, they announce that Filoni's going to be directing a movie. Mm-hmm. When did you find out about that?
When you guys did.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. I had no idea.
Oh, no idea. Okay, interesting. And then the other thing is, did you know that there was going to be this grand scale big event that closes everything off, or that you found that out about that too?
No, that has been chatter. That has definitely been conversation between Dave and John and I. And not like we're powwowing in the corner. Like they've talked to other people about it, and they talked to me about it as well. So I knew it was coming. I have no idea what it's about. I have no idea who's in it.
It would be moronic to not have Bo Katan in that movie. She's got to be in that movie, right?
I agree 100%. It'd
be strange if you didn't.
It would be super strange if they didn't.
Right.
I'm also incredibly biased, obviously.
Of course, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
no matter what happens with Thrawn, if they're gonna have to set up stuff with Thrawn in Ahsoka,
that was a hard secret to keep, by the way.
About the Thrawn element of it.
Yeah, that was really hard to keep.
Yeah, I was surprised was there ever any mention that Thrawn would show, like not him in general, but the name even a little bit more so in the finale? Was there anything else with Thrawn related? No, never.
No.
Okay.
All
right.
Just that Giancarlo stuff.
Yeah, and then Paz Vizsla scene. Let's talk about that scene. That's the most emotional scene.
My heavy.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
That was a hard scene to shoot too. I love Tate. Tate's one of the coolest people. That talk about steady as a rock.
Yeah.
And just a phenomenal person. He's so cool to have around. And that scene, shooting that scene, because Bo's the last one. On the day when you shoot these things, you want to make sure that they land. Mm-hmm. Leaving another Mandalorian behind is really hard for Bo.
Yeah.
And especially, having known him and these characters, having known of them for a while now and them knowing each other. It was hard. She knows he's not coming out of that. And she knows that he just sacrificed himself for them, for her.
Yeah.
That's crazy, and I wanted her to run back and not want to leave.
Yeah.
You get in situations like that, you get overruled. You realize that the story's not about you, and you take your ego out of it, and you're like, but I want her to go back, and it's like that's not the story right now.
Well, it's consistent in what we just talked about in that scene when she's going after the TIE fighters and she's going to the castle, and then she realizes she's not going to survive this. So it's consistent in that note to where she's like, she's got to lead those other Mandalorians out. I really think I think that was the right call, to be honest. As much as she would go back to want to help, but it didn't happen. But when she did go back to help is at the end with this fight with Moff Gideon. So tell me a little bit about the Giancarlo stuff, and then knowing again that we knew he was coming back, but in this particular way, the cloning aspect of it, that he cloned himself, all that. So she comes back in to help Din, and she does this major battle, because I think they did this on purpose. They want to show you at first they think Din's going to take him out, then they think Bo's going to take him out, but then Bo has the line, because this is where I kind of, because there was, again, I think there's a certain amount of people that think, I understand why they got rid of the Darksaber, because it wasn't about that. Bo says it. She goes, it's about working together. And then there's also the people. I'm kind of in this camp of I understand it. I don't know about him crushing it in the way that he did, but nonetheless, I understand why. But talk to me about Bo kind of making that choice, what it was like working with Giancarlo again, and all that.
Giancarlo's amazing. You know, talk about a talent.
Yeah.
He is such a smart performer, and I love watching him work. I love watching him talk and engage with the fans. Like he is like
Loves
just
it.
such a powerful artist and person. You know, it was a hard scene. You know, it is this moment where you realize that he is stronger than any one of them, and it took all of them to defeat him. And you know, I love that, because I think that's the whole thing. I think that's the big metaphor of this season, is that they all have to come together for the greater good. And you know, you have to, this thing that has led to wars and infighting, and you know, has to be destroyed for them to move forward.
Yeah,
it has to be.
And they got to work together.
And they have to work together.
The three of them work together to do it. And there's that moment, the iconic moment now at the end when Grogu's kind of protecting them from fire.
Yeah.
In Star Wars, though, if you don't see the body,
you got to understand that, right?
You got to understand that.
If you don't see the body and you don't see them, like even Paz,
right.
You know.
Well, Paz you saw kind of drop down.
You did, but maybe he just passed out.
He got stabbed in the neck. Paz might be gone.
Like, I'm holding out hope. You never know. Like,
I think he got less of a problem.
I don't know. Like, maybe he just
maybe
he got like stabbed, but it cauterized it on the way out. And like,
you see, this is Bo being helpful here. Hopeful.
Bo is really hopeful.
Hopeful, but I think that there's a shot that Moff is around, but I like the kind of thing that they did with this kind of battle within, that he's not on board with this Thrawn plan. He cares about Moff.
No, he cares about himself.
Yeah, and I thought also Katee O'Brien was great.
Katee O'Brien's fantastic.
She was in here
I saw that.
Yeah, right afterwards, and
she's
how cool is she?
She's amazing.
She's awesome.
We have the same trainer.
Oh, okay.
She's did she talk to you about her upcoming project?
Yeah, she's got the one with Kristen Stewart.
Okay,
right?
so she did talk about it. So
yeah.
and like the shape she had to get in.
Yes,
okay.
She's talked about. Yeah.
Jesus, like I mean, like
yes.
guns for guns for guns for guns. It's so funny because Steve trained me for Another Life, which was like this lean, like tons of muscle, but like no body fat. Like I mean, like I got down so low that like my period like stopped. Like it was crazy how lean I was. And I wanted that look for this character. And then he takes another actress, and Katee and I are literally the same size.
Yeah.
Like we are physically the same size. And then he takes her body and just like packs it with this muscle, but also keeps that weight on, you know, and she's just like thick, and looks absolutely fucking amazing.
Well, there's a lot of talk and fan kind of in the same way that Rosario Dawson was kind of fan cast in the Ahsoka role, and that's how it happened. Did you know that's how it went down? Like
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's what's happening now with Katee O'Brien in Last of Us season 2. There's a role inside of that everyone's saying that she's going to be. So I'm so curious if that's going to happen.
She's going to blow up.
I think so. She's a really cool person too. She's very nice. But speaking of Last of Us, tell me a little about Pedro. So we know at this point because he was busy with Last of Us. So is he on set? Is he around? Is it like what's how often is he around? Or is he able to just kind of be at the events and stuff?
So I primarily work with Brendan, Wayne, and Lateef.
Got it.
You know, those guys are there all the time, and they put that character together with the help of Pedro.
Right.
It is literally those three guys. You can't do that character without the three of them. And I think that is something that they've realized as they've gone on. You can't do Bo with just me.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right. Because of the
It's
stunts.
impossible.
Right.
You've got, you know, not only do you have the fighting and then the acting, you've got the sheer fact that you have two units going at all times.
Right.
I can't be in one place at the same time or two places at the same time. I tried.
Yeah.
Like this season, I was running back and forth to the back lot and like having to change out like pauldrons and like this and sprinting back and forth and like killing myself to try and do this. And I was like, just put someone, just like let them do it. But there are moments when I can tell when it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell when it's not me walking. I can tell when it's not me standing, and it kills me because I have such ownership over this character.
For years.
It's not about me.
Right.
Like if it works for the fans, then that's all that matters.
Yeah,
It's not
because
about me.
and that's the thing, right? Because we know because like you said, like you're on set, so you know. Oh, I wasn't there for that shot, but most people can't tell, so it works. But yeah, as far as and then so that makes sense. Then you worked a lot with Brendan, and that was the kind of the back and forth there. As far as the directors went this season, though, too, you got to work with Bryce Dallas Howard again. So how was that reunion?
I love Bryce.
Yeah.
I love Bryce. She's got like an infectious smile, and her laughter, this giggle that she has is like, you can't help but want to like stand next to her. Like she's just amazing. And she's a fantastic director.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing. She knows the storyline. She knows what the goal is, and she also adds her own spin on it. And puts her mark. It's fantastic. She's so good at what she does.
When Brendan Wayne was in here, he outed her as a big Star Trek fan.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. She's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, there are certain people that you work with, certain women that you work with that.
Oh, here comes
that-
that female
Here
agenda.
comes that. Oh my God. Oh, like yeah. Who just want other women to succeed.
Right.
And I think that there's this thing that women know that men, for some reason, don't want to talk about. There is nothing that a man can say about me that another woman hasn't already said.
Right.
Women are freaking
Ruthless.
nasty
Ruthless.
to each other. They are nasty. They're brutal. They're feisty. They'll cut you. It's hard. Like
Right.
I can take the shit that men say to
And
me.
they'll always bring it back up.
And they always bring it back up because we don't forget.
Right. Guys
forget.
forget after they say it.
So when you meet a woman who's like, let me give you a platform, let me raise
Yeah.
you up, let me do this.
I love that.
Rosario Dawson's the same way.
Yeah.
She loves other women. She's like, let me do this. That is cool.
Yeah.
That is amazing because it's not common.
Speak to me a little bit about Rosario Dawson then when it comes to Ahsoka. Is there any shot, because like you said, these things all connect, and Skeleton Crew's another one, right? That it all
Yeah.
connects to. What's the chances been now with Mandalorian, with Mandalore now kind of united and Bo kind of running the shop with it seems like both factions together on Mandalore, and now that it's restored, what's the chances we see Bo in Ahsoka? What's the chances we see Bo and the Mandalorians in Skeleton Crew? There's only so much you can tell us, but like what do you think?
Look, I think it's all possible.
Yeah,
You know, I think it's all possible. I've said this from day one. As long as she's alive,
makes sense.
she works in this world.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll have to see. Like it's definitely above my pay grade.
Yeah, but it's possible.
But it's anything's possible.
Anything is possible. And then Favreau.
Including Paz coming back.
hold your breath. But you got Rick Famuyiwa did a am I pronouncing that right?
Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa, because I always say it, and I always try to say it fast enough so people don't really
I
know
know
if I'm
you
saying
have.
it
To,
wrong.
I have to slow down. Yeah.
I say it fast so people don't know if I'm saying it wrong.
Yeah.
But I think he's amazing. I think
He's really great.
Executive producer
Yeah.
this time around, and
a lot of responsibility.
yeah. So he does episode 1, 7, and 8, and then so. Is
But
it,
on set for everything.
okay, so tell me that, because this is what I've been saying, and you can either say no comment, you can say whatever, or you can just tell me if you're able to say it. The way that it looks like to me, and I said this the other day on I don't know if it was my live stream or on this show, mathematically, with everything coming up. You've got Ahsoka coming up in August. So I've worked in production. So what would make sense is that Dave Filoni was most likely doing a lot of prep work and stuff for Ahsoka because it's his baby, loves it. And then mathematically, it seems like it would be, minus like, cameos and stuff, it seemed like it would be harder for him to be around. And it also makes sense that Rick was probably on set a lot because he's executive producer. And then Jon was writing every episode too. So was Dave around a lot, or was it more so Rick? Was it more so Jon? How did that work?
Every single one of those guys is there every day.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge lot, and they're all
in the
so
area.
busy.
Got it.
And they're all there. It's if they're not physically on set, they have what I have, which is, and I was watching the doubles play me the entire time, so I could literally call over to another unit. I had it on my phone. I could see what they were doing in live time, and I could call over and say, "Tell her to walk like this. Tell her to do this. Her hand is a weird way.
Got
do
it.
this."
So they're collaborating at all
times.
Got it.
Physically on set every day.
Yeah.
Jon is there and Rick is there. Dave is
working on Ahsoka.
Working his butt off. They're all so busy.
So he's
But he's there.
He's involved. He's mentally there. He's involved.
there.
He just physically, it was hard for him to be there as much.
I saw him every day on set. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So it's this big collaboration between everybody. But they have a lot going on right now.
Yeah,
it would
busy.
be physically
especially
impossible.
with this movie announced now too, right?
I mean, my text to him, Dave, when I found out about this, my literal text to him was like, "You never sleep."
yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you were able to do it for everything you had to do this season. I'm sure. I mean, but let's we talked about that last time, so let's transition to that a little bit too, because you got a little one at home, and this was a pretty. I mean, this was all you this season, so it's pretty involved. So how do you balance it?
I have, the most supportive, amazing husband that I could ever have hoped for. He is there every day, was there every day with her. I also am blessed that we had a night nurse in the beginning.
Right.
So, financially, that was something that we could do, which saved us. So for the first 4 months, we were not doing nights except on weekends. And that helped tremendously. And on days when I had really, really hard stuff to do, the next day at work, I slept downstairs. And, Robin did nights. I did not do one night until our daughter was like 4 months old.
Right. That's a partnership.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. And that's just what you have to do. Like, it's not about keeping score. It's about coming together as a partner and figuring out, okay, I got her this day, you got her this day, I got this. We divide and conquer. That's what it's about.
100%.
And because I didn't carry my daughter physically, it's the great equalizer, I think, in my mind, that we were at level playing field. The moment our daughter was handed to us, we were both for the first time touching our daughter.
Yeah.
And that, I think, put us on a very, very even playing field where he had our bonds were the same. Like, it was such a beautiful thing because he had this intense, beautiful, I loved seeing their bond, that first 4 months, because he had so much time with her.
Yeah.
And it was this amazing thing. And it was hard, though. There were times where, like, I would just get home from work and, like, be sobbing.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I hadn't seen her. Or times where I didn't want to go in and pick her up and hold her because she was sleeping, and he would remind me, she's a month old. She's not gonna, if you wake her up, she's gonna go right back to sleep. You go in and you pick up your daughter.
100%.
That's what you have to do.
Right, but it doesn't. But it's that. I agree with him 100%. But it's also absolutely pure for you to feel that way too, because it's like this is your everything. I always tell people in a conversation with the person recently who had a newborn, and I was like, your life changes like that, and it's not about you anymore.
Yeah.
And even though like so you're doing these things, what used to be 15 years ago for you,
Yeah.
these jobs were for you.
Yeah.
This job is now for them.
It's
Yeah.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And that's what my husband said every single day that I got home from work. He said, "You're doing this for our family.
100%.
That is what you're doing."
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
And that's why he's able to do what he's able to say, no, I got this because I know what you're doing now. You're not
Yeah.
doing this for selfish needs. You're not
Yeah.
doing this for ego. You're doing this to put to help us, with the family in general.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do my thing. And it's awesome.
But at the end of the day, we have such an honest, communicative relationship. There were times where I would come home exhausted and I would want to complain to my partner.
Yeah.
And it was hard for him because he was like, if you come home and you just want to, it has to be worth it.
Yeah.
You have to go to work and not feel guilty and not care that you have to just go.
Right.
Because if you are feeling guilty and wanting to be here, why am I the one sacrificing so you can go do that?
Yeah.
So he was like, just go. You make the most of it. Go do this. You're 15 minutes away from us. They would come to work a lot of the times.
Right.
And he was like, that's what it's going to be right now.
Yeah.
This is what it is right now. And it was amazing. It was I'm so blessed to be able to make the decisions that I make. And then as soon as the show was over, I haven't worked for a year. And that was a choice that I got to make.
Yeah.
I've been with my daughter every
Wh-
single
which is great.
day.
And then so I guess, but it's combined though too, because once the show starts coming out, I mean, even this for you is work because
Yeah.
it's like a promotion of the show and talking about it too, but it's like different phases on how that works, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty nuts how that all works. And like, did you think though too, because like I said, I've known you now it's coming up on 17 years.
Yeah.
Which is
I was going
nuts.
to say almost like 20 years.
It's something like that. Yeah. So, and I've known you through different periods and everything too. Did you ever think though that at certain times in your life when you're going through, whether it's certain relationships, certain things, you go, I don't know if I'm gonna if the family thing is for me. I don't know if it's just gonna be career. I don't know did you see the different levels? Because we've all been through different relationships where you go, I'm in this relationship I think is gonna work, and then that doesn't work. And then you go in this other one, that doesn't work. And then you're like, well, it's about my work now. And then you find someone like Robin.
Yeah.
And then you get, you have your child. Did you see it coming? Were you ever doubtful, or did you always know that it was gonna happen if you willed it to happen?
I always knew that I would be a mom. I didn't know how it was going to look. I think one of the things that happen when you, and I'm generalizing now, when I was told that I wouldn't be able to carry because of the health issues that I've had in my past, feeling utterly devastated,
Yeah.
and then immediately saying, okay, well, how can I then be a mother now? What do we do now? Because I wanted to be a mom so bad. But, I just didn't know if it was ever going to work out. And I was in a relationship. It didn't work. I was, did a lot of therapy to get through that relationship because it was not good. But I would not have ended up with my husband had I not dated somebody who didn't treat me well.
Right.
I recognized in my husband the moment I met him that he was a good man.
Yeah.
And not just like, oh, he's nice. I've dated nice guys. I never dated someone who was inherently kind, who was just a good, kind person.
Right.
And I knew it the moment I saw him. And as soon as I got out of my own way, because I was trying to convince myself that wasn't for me, that I didn't deserve that in some way, like I hadn't earned a good guy. The moment I shut that up and grabbed onto him, I was like, I am never letting this person go. He's such a good, nice man. Never would have dated a nice guy had I not been completely fucked.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. It's like I always say that same thing. It's like you can't judge your past if you can't see the future, right? You just can't, because all those moments. Like I went through some shit at one point and then thought, well, the hell with this, and then had those moments not happened, it doesn't lead you to that point. But it also, I will say that, and Katie was talking about it as far as therapy, as far as talking, as far as acknowledging it. And that's why I actually think it's a great transition to tell you guys a little bit more about BetterHelp, who I know in general has helped out people on this show and could help you. Let me tell you about BetterHelp. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You guys know how I have been talking about BetterHelp, how it has helped people on this show, how it has helped a lot of you. And now we can tell you more once again about BetterHelp, because getting to know yourself, it can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and we're always changing. How I was, 2 years ago, significantly different to how I am today, because you're always learning. That's why you're saying to yourself later on, oh man, if I would have just done that back in the... Hindsight's 20/20. But if you can do things to help yourself, then why not do it? And therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes you don't always know what you want. And you don't always know why you react the way you do until you talk through things. And this is what I love about BetterHelp. It connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. So I've talked about this. You guys know about this. Roxy reached out to BetterHelp. She's been thriving since she's been talking to BetterHelp. I talk to her about it all the time, and she loves it. She loves the therapist that they matched her with. And it's so amazing as a friend, as someone who cares about Roxy deeply, to see that. And I want you guys to have the same experience. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online. It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Go and visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing. And when you do, you get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/bigthing. All right, thank you again to our friends over at BetterHelp. I'm not joking. I've talked about it. I mean, shoot, it's been open enough to where Roxy has talked about it, and it's been helping her tremendously. Talk to somebody. If you have an opportunity to, and it's so easy, we love working with BetterHelp. Please, please, please go and check them out. The link is in the description. Okay, let me bring up, let's talk about this Star Wars Celebration, and then we'll give away the helmet.
Yeah.
All right, so Star Wars Celebration, London. Now, am I wrong? Were you already supposed to go to London, or you were just planning to go there just for Celebration?
No, I was going just for Celebration.
Okay. And so, how was it this year? I heard it was like smaller than normal, but it was still. But I heard it's pretty infectious as far as the reception and stuff.
Yeah, Celebration is always so weird because it's owned by, like, it's divided up in a very strange way.
Like Reed Pop and stuff,
and
right? Yeah.
Lucas and Reed Pop and like all of these. So you never quite understand, who wants you there and what's happening. Like, are you signing? I don't know. Like, it's just because it comes down to what the powers that be decide, and there's multiple people and multiple entities that have to determine that. So I knew that I was going to sign. I learned later that I was going for Lucas.
Okay.
But it was pretty soon after I knew I was going to be there for signing.
Yeah.
And it's always fun. It was smaller, but
but I heard it was pretty. It seemed like it was a lot of fun as always too. And then they did how was the reception by the audience? Just I guess it's Star Wars Celebration. They probably just lost their minds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a little split, like you said. I think there were some people that were, super excited and loved the show, and then there were others that were like, meh, I'm here for Battlestar.
That's I loved by the way when you were on and I saw on the stage, and when I think it was Kristian who had asked you and said, so say we all on stage, because you started with this is the way.
She said, are we going to say it?
Yeah.
And I sort of stole her thunder.
Well, you said this is the way, and then when she threw out so say we all, I was like good for her. That was amazing to throw that in there, because the props on that is there anything you think could, because I feel there's reboots left and right and multiverses and things that happen. Is there anything that ever can happen again with Battlestar? You think that the ship has sailed?
Well, someone's rebooting it.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
but
is it Sam Raimi or something?
Is it? But
like
I mean,
that?
with you guys.
I don't know.
Would you want to go back to that world?
I don't know. She was so angsty. I think it'd be super fun.
Yeah.
I think it'd be super fun. But I mean, she's so bipolar. I don't know.
You don't want to go back to that spot.
I needed therapy, like, just when that was over. I don't know. I don't know if I have the ability to play that character anymore.
But Riddick. What's going on with Riddick? You survived in that. Anything?
I must have upset somebody over there, because I didn't die and I'm not back. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't kiss the ring.
Amazing. Well, look, speaking of Riddick, we have something that we're going to be able to give away here too. But we are going to do, on the last show, when Katie was on, she very generously, she said, "Look, I have a helmet that I have the Bo Katan helmet that I'm going to autograph, and I'll give it away on the show." I said, "It's amazing." So we asked you guys, we said, "Look, we're going to ask for comments on it. We're going to go through it. It's got to hit 2,000 comments in order to be a contest," and it did. It's over 2,000 comments. The episode did really, really well, and so we went through them. We're going to actually let Katie read off both the username that won the helmet, and then we're going to get your information, and we'll ship it on out to you. But all right, Katie, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Let's see. So we'll go with the.
Oh my God,
I
need my glasses.
Let's see. Hold on,
I love
wait,
that Kristian's making it bigger so I can
Wow.
see. Wait a second.
Here's the name first.
I had my
So-
sunnies. I was going to put them on so I can have my prescription. Okay, wait. Rogue Ninja 93.
All right, here we go. So you ready? I'll move it to the left so you can
This is
go.
great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed her signing after she had to back out of San Francisco Fan Expo last year. FYI, I'm coming back. So it would be amazing to win her helmet. Here is this. Here in this. I've been a fan of her character and voice work since Clone Wars and continue to be a big fan of hers in Mandalorian. Loved the interview, and it was fun to hear a little about what's going on in her life. Can't wait for the next one.
All right, so congratulations to
Congratulations.
the Rogue Ninja 93. You're going to get the signed
Oh, that's
Bo
cool.
Katan helmet, and we're going to send it out to you. So we'll reach out to you, Rogue Ninja, and get your information. So be on the lookout there for that. But it ain't over, because when Katie showed up today, she goes, "Look, I had some stuff that I was thinking it would be fun to maybe sign and do a new giveaway." So we're going to do that, and let me show you. Brett, I want you to do me a favor. I'll get it. I want you to entertain the audience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just feel like
Let's talk, Brett.
Kristian just stole all my questions that I had for you, and I just had to sit here quietly and listen.
I feel like you have a question, though, like a burning question,
Go ahead, ask
Brett.
him a question.
What is this show, Mandalorian?
You sound like my mom.
No, I love it, and I love that I got to be on the show and meet you. And then when we were sitting there, I had so much like, oh, look at
Oh,
Katie."
wait, at the premiere.
At the premiere,
Yeah.
I was just like, I was rooting for you, and I'm
Because
just
you were like, does that bitch ever smile?
no, you were just
he was watching that episode like when I just went to watch my daughter in Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the same face when he went after that interview. He's watching you going, "Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
Katie!" And he was
it's like
so
you
excited.
root for the good ones.
You root for
know,
the good
and,
ones.
and you are, and I love listening to you because you seem very put together, and I love what you said about your husband, and I tell my wife all the time she doesn't deserve me.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's true. She
fact.
doesn't deserve a
I've
nice
met your
guy
wife. It's
like-
true.
She didn't have the lesson of the
No.
asshole before.
No, she actually did.
Did she?
Oh, that's when you
it's
swoop
like-
in as the nice guy.
It's when
right?
you swoop.
Yeah.
You got to swoop fast,
Yeah,
too, but
yeah.
not too soon. Because
No,
then
it can
you're
be a rebound.
rebound.
Yeah,
Been
yeah.
there before.
You got to swoop in like a real
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to be like, you got to wait. You got to sort of pretend like you're not interested. And then as
100%.
soon as they feel like, they're ready to get back
they're-
in the dating, you just sort of go, you pretend to be like their best friend. And
Yeah.
you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah.
And then you swoop in.
That's how you did it.
And that's exactly
Yes.
when people
Well
go,
done.
"How'd you get that gal?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well,
It's true.
she
And the only
dated
reason,
some
and the
a-holes."
only reason I said that your wife, you're right, she doesn't deserve you, because I know she doesn't watch the show.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
so I know she's not going to be able to come after me. All right, so let's show Katie. What did you bring for us today?
So I am cleaning out my garage,
Yeah.
and I'm going to start putting all of this stuff up on my website, and the money's going to go to charity, and it's all going to be signed. But I thought I'd bring some stuff here.
Yeah.
So we have, talking about
Yeah.
Riddick, we have a signed copy of Riddick
Yeah.
and a signed copy of Oculus.
Yeah, man.
If you haven't seen this movie, this is amazing.
Creepy, yeah.
And
This is a big one.
OG.
This is a big one.
a signed whole first season
Yeah.
of Battlestar
Wow.
Galactica. So if you haven't seen that, here's your chance. I don't know. Do people even have DVD players anymore?
Of course they do.
We do,
Yeah,
right?
but also remember because a lot of them can play on the video game consoles and
Yeah.
stuff too. So, but
Right.
is that Blu-ray or DVD? That one
Oh, they're probably all DVD.
That's
I don't
fine.
even know if Blu-ray existed.
back then. I mean, either way,
Exists
it's.
Blu-ray?
I think it's also about something like look. I just, and you
Regular.
commented on it, like, for
Riddick's
example.
Blu-ray.
Yeah, it's Blu-ray.
That's Blu-ray.
So
'cause it's blue.
I think this is Blu-ray. Either way, doesn't matter. The point is, so I'm not a big comic book guy now these days, but my friends are, and I have a show that I do that I learn about comics through them. But Keanu Reeves is doing the signing for this Berserker, which I've had a chance to read because Boom Studios has been sponsoring the show, and they do such great stuff. But like I said, even though, like, I have this comic book that I normally wouldn't get because just not the first thing I run out to get, but I have it signed by him. It's like a prized possession. So imagine getting the Battlestar Galactica first season by Katee Sackhoff, Riddick, Oculus. So this is great. So we're going to do the same exact thing that we did last time, except this time there's going to be 3 winners. So we're going to do the same thing. You got to comment on, it can be about anything inside of the show, what we talked about today. It can be anything about Mandalorian. It can be anything in general that you want to talk about, and we'll go through it. And this time there's going to be 3 winners. There's going to be 3 winners, but it's got to get to 2,000 comments again. Once it gets to 2,000 comments, we're going to pick the winners. But you got 3 particular winners here, and you're going to get a signed copy of Oculus. You're going to get a signed copy of Riddick, and you'll get a signed copy of Battlestar Galactica Season 1 by Katee Sackhoff herself.
I can't believe you got to meet Keanu Reeves, by the way. I just want to talk about that
Right.
for 1 second.
100%.
What was that like?
The coolest. Everything that you think he is like,
Yeah.
he is like.
I saw him at the gym once,
Yeah.
like 20 years ago. And he came up like on his motorcycle at the gym, and I was like weak in the knees.
Yeah, he's
Like
he's
a gorgeous human being.
but even more so when you talk to him, right?
Yeah.
Because he's so passionate about Berserker when we went there. So, and again, I always assume if I've told the story once that people have heard about it. I talked about it on my live stream, but it was Boom Studios sponsored. They're great. They're such a, like, you will wind up doing something with them. Like, they have so many different genres in, like, horror and science fiction, and they're making a lot of different stuff. They're going to be, they're quickly moving in a direction that it's like meteor.
Yeah.
And so they have this thing that Keanu created for them
Berserker.
called Berserker.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's already working on the movie and all this stuff too, but he was so involved in it. So they called me up on, and they said, hey, on Wednesday, we have this kind of pop-up event that's going to be very small, but you want to come in and be like one of the first people in and talk to him. And I was like, yeah, definitely. So I went in, and we had, like, I think I was talking to Corey, we had anywhere between like 10 and like 15 minutes.
That's a good amount of time. Yeah.
So we were just bullshitting with him for a bit, and we were just talking about the passion of the project that he was working on. I brought up, not to dive deep into John Wick, but I said, like, the question I had for you is that I know how involved you were, like, developing all of this, but when you are and you're working on John Wick, very similar to what you were just talking about, like, how do you balance that? And he's like, because I love it.
Yeah.
And he's like, because he loves it.
You have to love it.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, he was rushing to the thing to go there to work because he said, "Look, I didn't do this by myself. I had, like, great artists. I had another writer, and we were just, and Coy asked a lot of kind of detailed questions about the comic in general, but, like, he was just, yeah. But I was just, when you go in there, you wonder, is he just going to be kind of like, yeah, all right, great, I'll sign it. What do you want to know, nerds? Not at all. Not at all. Just engaged, wanted the conversation. Winston, who's on the show as well on Fridays, was the first person in, and he was just talking to Winston for a bit, and, like, just, like, it seemed like just, he didn't seem like a movie star. I mean, he looks like a movie star, but he didn't seem like a movie star. He just seemed like a guy that was there to just talk about his comic book and what you said before, listening, right? Like, just listening, having that conversation and engaging. And that's I was a fan, major fan before. I'm even more of a fan now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he seems like, if the world lived according to Keanu, we might all be
We'd be all right.
happier,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We'd be all right.
Yeah, he's like, yeah,
He and Matthew McConaughey.
His answers, Keanu's answers in interviews, like, what the hell was it? It was some question like Drew Barrymore asked him one time in his show about love or something. I can't remember what it was, and it was just such like a zen. I'm like, damn it, people can't be that cool. Like, he's just so cool. Like, I thought Clooney was cool. Keanu's just cool.
You know what, though? Like, talk about a person who has experienced some heavy loss in his life,
yeah,
right?
for real.
So this is the kind of thing that I talk about a lot, that if life happens around you, whether you let it or not, and if you allow experiences to break you, it's letting the shit win, right?
Yeah.
You take those experiences and those losses, you don't get over it. They
Right.
become a part of you.
Right.
You become a more evolved human being when you allow those moments to change you and force you to grow. And I mean, I would imagine that you would learn a lot about love having so much loss in your life.
100%, absolutely. And it's also, but it also shows the character of a human being on how they deal with that loss, right? Like, it can be anger, it could be, you get to a place where you can really learn from it, and there's a lot of people who don't learn from it. They just see red from it all the time. I mean, I've talked about this after when I lost both. Like John Schnepp, who was a close friend, and then my brother within the course of a month.
Yeah.
And for over a year and a half, all I saw was red.
Yeah.
And eventually you can't live like that. You get yourself in trouble if you do that. And I think that there's ways, like you said, like it will turn you into a different person. It just, you have to be in control of how that works.
It's hard. When I lost such a close friend to who took his own life, I was talking to my mother about it, and I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get over this.
Right.
And she said, you're not going to get over it.
No.
This loss will become a part of you, and
Right.
you will find a way to put one foot in front of the other and move forward.
Right.
But it will always be a part of you.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things that makes you a more evolved human being, a better parent, a better artist, a better friend. When you experiences those losses in life, because then you understand how rare life is, how special it is, and how fleeting it is.
Yeah.
You hold on to the good things a lot harder.
It's also age, right? It's also a matter of like experience and everything too. So, look, we got a lot out of this conversation today, man. I'm excited that you were able to come in. I'm excited that we were able to talk about Mandalorian. I can't wait to see what the hell happens in the in the future with Bo. I can't wait. And is there anything? I'm trying to think if there's anything else we missed. The fans are going to yell at us that we didn't ask. But like we talked about, I know that we hit the dark saber. We hit all the stuff. Is there anything in general that we missed on the season? I don't think so. I think we hit all the big moments. Like I think we hit it, Katie. So you got to come back again. We got to see you again soon on the next project. And
can the thumbnail just be you sitting on the couch the way you sat on the throne? Would that be?
It should be.
you might have just made the. Look, he was joking and serious at the same time.
That's going to be the thumbnail.
That's going to absolutely be the thumbnail. Katee Sackhoff returning in studio. Well, thank you once again for joining us. It's always a pleasure. I'm glad that you were able to come in here. I'm glad that I know that when we hear you talk about it, it's always great as Brett said, like just to learn more about you and the reason why they fell in love with you. But it's also very encouraging for people who may be following you for the first time to just said, hey, as Bo Katan, I like this thing, and then learning more about that journey, the struggles that we all have. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
And maybe think twice about making ball bag comments about such a nice person.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing,
That's
right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? At the end of the day, the biggest lesson I've learned from social media and from life in general.
Stay off of it.
Well, stay off of it.
Yeah.
But a therapist told me this a long time ago. You have to stop trying to figure out why other people do what they do.
Right.
You have to figure out why you're okay with it and why you allow it into your life.
Yeah.
So I just look at it now. When somebody says something really mean about me, I take a deep breath and I go, wow, it must be really, really hard. There was a woman, sorry to change the subject. There was a woman who on a Saturday afternoon got on social media to talk terrible shit about me. And I was going to respond. And then I thought to myself, wow, imagine on a Saturday afternoon going online to pick fights with people because you need to be seen.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah.
And
I dropped it.
Yes. And it's also, look, and adding to that, the other thing is, who knows what she went through that day?
Exactly.
Who knows what happened in that morning that maybe she got into a fight with someone, maybe she didn't feel loved, maybe something happened. She turned on the TV, she saw you, and you were the first person she wanted to take it out on. So it is too easy to respond in as opposed to saying exactly what you just did, which is, hold on a second. I don't know what that person's going through. And it is mentally healthier for you to step away from it because, as you said, I can't even tell you the amount of positive things, like when you go through that last interview that we did.
Yeah.
It's showered with love. The amount of stuff that I've seen about Bo Katan this season, shower with love, regardless, as I said, regardless of people that maybe that said, not my favorite out of 3, but if I saw and I gave you $1 for every person that said, but Katie, Bo Katan. So take that with you because it is. I'm telling you, it's real. I've seen it, and the way that you and look, there are ball bags everywhere you go.
Hillary, you call them ball bags.
Yeah, everywhere you go, there are ball bags, and they're not going to go anywhere, especially with social media. But I'm glad that the way you powered through it, and congratulations on what you did this season. You were fantastic. The character was amazing, and we hope that we're going to see her kick a lot of ass on Mandalore and all that. And maybe I thought she was going to ride the Mythosaur. Was there any talk about that?
I mean, there's only so much I'm going to say.
Damn it. All right, fine.
And I think we got out of this episode with not too many spoilers, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's really not. We didn't like.
Well, then spoil.
No, I don't want to.
Come on. We talked
No.
about spoiler. We talked about spoilers inside of the. I mean, like the actual episodes themselves. Like we saw them, but like,
I thought the most amazing part of that episode was when they had sex.
So people were talking about that though. So Laura Kelly, who is someone who was one of the best Star Wars competitors we ever had in Schmodown, and she was she's a massive Bo Katan fan. She was shipping Din and Bo. I'm so a lot of people were. Was that ever a conversation or never a conversation?
It was a conversation for sure. It was for sure a conversation. And there's a scene of Brendan actually grabbing Bo's face and kissing me in like a off take. It was so funny because it was like right there the entire time.
Yeah.
We were joking about it the whole time. And then I was like, could you imagine having sex? And he's like, I can't take my helmet off.
Yeah, right.
But she's like staring at herself.
Or she just has to close her eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You like very sexily. It would be like what was that the gray movie, the one, the Anastasia with the gray room, the red room, the book, the Mr. Gray, the
yeah,
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
You're right.
Shades of Grey.
Thank you. It's like he's got to wrap like something around
Or
her.
he goes, wait, she shows up in like lingerie and just a helmet, and he goes, you know what? I'm taking the helmet off. Fuck it, just take me back to the water later.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? They just had sex in the water.
Yeah. He's like, first of all, let's just do it in the water.
Yeah.
He's like, Mythosaur's watching. Hey, buddy, you got a show.
For anyone who's tried that, it doesn't work.
No, but there was actually conversation about it. Like, how serious was it?
No, I mean, I think the conversation literally was as much as like
Like a goof?
well, like how do we do this? Then we have to
okay.
get in the entire conversation of like what do they wear? Like,
Yeah.
are they in their uniforms? Are they in their what are they like?
Right.
And I think it just like went away.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go.
So everybody
Yeah.
who was shipping Din and Bo, your dreams were crushed.
You never know. You
Never know. That's right, for now. But well, we'll see. Guys, thank you for joining us. Thank you to Katee Sackhoff. Thank you to Brett. Thank you to all you guys, and congratulations to the winner of the helmet. Congratulations to the future winner of the signed content that Katee brought here today. And again, remember, put those comments in here. Once we hit 2,000, we're going to get to the 3 winners of the Blu-rays / DVDs. So thanks again, guys. And don't forget, man, we're going to be there. Burbank, April 28th. Going to be stand-up comedy. There's going to be a live show. All that and more. Hit that button. Show a little class. First time here. Let's get us to 100,000. Spotify. We're on Spotify video. All that and more. You guys are the best. Thanks again. And we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.